So, Soda Bot, have you seen my dudes here anywhere? Kenny and Neil. They listen to Boiler a lot. You know, the Limp Bizkit song.
Maybe. Do they drink human blood?
No.
Do they wear skimpy red outfits that show a lot of cleavage?
Well, one of them does.
Oh, then maybe. Does he also have wings and fly around?
No.
Then must have been someone else. Sorry.
Dang. Well, I got these Wayland batteries working in my teleporter, so I'm out of here.
Smell ya later, Coolerbot.
Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am a human herder, Hallstrom.
And I am prey animal Rohrbacher.
Oh, fuck. And we are ancient bloodsuckers awoken to digest the Alien franchise.
Perfect. Flawless.
Yeah,
Love
good
that
enough.
dismount. Good work.
Off the dome.
That's right, baby.
How's it going, Kenny?
It's going all right. No problems at all. I'm kind of hungry. We're doing this when it would normally be lunchtime.
We're squeezing it in the middle of some rough weather I'm experiencing. So I appreciate you being accommodating.
Hey, man. It's what I do. It's all good.
We'll scramble through this one. I don't think it's going to take that long to talk about the last 3 issues of Aliens Vampirella.
Yeah, I'm not going to say not a lot happens, because a lot does happen, but it's more just like a checklist of stuff that happens. There doesn't really need to be like, okay, I'm not saying we can't have like a real discussion about what goes on, but it's more like there's a checklist of a handful of things that happen, and we're like, yeah, okay, that's about the extent of it.
Pretty action-packed series.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I suppose that's a better way to describe it than what I was saying. Most of the content is visual-based action rather than really dialogue. So that when I say there's not a lot to talk about, it's because most of the comic is visuals.
Right.
Yeah, that is a way better way to describe what I was trying to say than what I tried saying. So
I do want to get ahead of something here. You know, when I was going through a little Vampirella primer on the last episode, I talked about how she was originally a space vampire, an alien from the planet Draculon. Mm-hmm. And then over the years in various reboots, she was then just sort of a vampire. And then she was, born in the Garden of Eden. And then she was actually born in a place called Draculon, but that wasn't a planet. It was a place in hell. And it was this and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the episode, I said, hey, maybe by the next time we watch this, I will watch the 1996 Vampirella movie and read the Red Sonja Vampirella Meet Betty and Veronica series. All right. I did half of both of those things.
All right.
Vampirella movie, rough to get through.
I don't doubt it.
No shade to Lissa Soto. Okay. Although the director did say she was like, I didn't really want her for the part here.
Good. All right. I love that.
No shade to director Jim Wynorski, who was doing the best he could with what he had, I think. Jim Wynorski, famously director of Deathstalker 2, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Famously, yes.
But that movie, very clearly, space vampire. Okay, very clearly, Planet Draculon. Very clearly, this race of vampires came from space. Okay. Switching over to Betty and Veronica, Red Sonja, Vampirella. Straight up, hey, Vampirella, where are you from? Planet Draculon. So I'm back on team Vampirella's a space vampire. And it seems like now, you know, the Vampirella movie, we're going to take that as what it is. Okay. But when Betty and Veronica are involved, that's Bible, right?
Of course, yes. That makes it definitive canon. Yes, of course.
So as far as I am concerned, Vampirella is a space vampire.
Space vampire. Got it.
So maybe they've shifted back to this because they realized it's just a much more interesting and fun origin for the character.
Could be.
And allows them to do fun stuff like stick her in space on a planet where Nosferatu were escaping planet Earth to escape the sun and living on Mars and harvesting humans.
They definitely do that, yes.
And encountered xenomorphs.
They sure did.
I just want to get ahead of that for all the hardcore Vampirella fans who already listened to part 1 of this and are dropping comments all over the place.
I'm sure those people will definitely be coming out of the woodwork and crawling all over this show. They will not be able to get away.
Much like facehuggers do. Or in this episode, issue 5, rats.
Yep.
Right?
Rats.
Anyway, that's all. That's all the business up top here, right?
Okay.
At least for a cleanup from the last episode.
Fair enough.
The other thing I do want to say is if you are listening to the show and you dig what we're doing here, why don't you go over to coolerbot.net? Maybe throw $1 or $2 our way. We really appreciate it. We've been doing shout outs on the Alien Earth episodes because we've been recording these ones well in advance of when they release. So
we sure are doing that, yes.
We're able to do shout outs right away on the Alien Earth episodes. But we love you guys. Everybody who has helped out the show or showed your appreciation by throwing us some dollars here and there. We really appreciate it.
As of this recording, we actually have 2 more people to shout out on the next Earth episode.
Yeah, and your names were shouted out on Alien Earth episode 5. Episode 5 of our Alien Earth. You know what I'm saying.
I do, yes.
Yeah, and the listeners know too. Don't pretend like you don't.
Yeah, that's right. Don't pretend.
You're right. That's it for business, I think.
Okay, let's get into it then.
Wait, no, there's one more. And this is news for you, Kenny.
Okay.
I want to plug something up top that I've done.
What the heck?
This episode should be dropping 12th or 13th, I think, of September.
All right.
As of the 10th, September 10th, if you guys go over to the They Made Another One podcast feed, friend of the show, Corey, my former MK PodQuest host, he and I recently did an episode of that show over there discussing one of the greatest movies ever made, Jim Wynorski's Deathstalker 2.
Of course. I should have known. No wonder you plugged it earlier.
Small world, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so go check that out. We had a blast. That is not we did have a hard time not just doing an MK PodQuest and trying to stick to the They Made Another One format because it was just he and I left to our own devices. But
all right. Yep.
It was fun to get back together. He and I hadn't recorded a proper podcast in well over a year, so
I saw that Corey was talking about maybe having some guests on, and I was half jokingly going to suggest, hey, you should have Neil on to talk about one of the shitty American Pie movies. And then I went, wait a minute, I think they already did, though. And, did they make another one? And so, I went on to the Wikipedia and was scrolling through all of the American Pie spin-off movies, trying to see if there was a new one to talk about. And then I got so caught up doing that I forgot to actually go back and post, you should have Neil on the show. And then so a day or two later he posted he was having a Discord chat with you, and I was like, shit, that's what I was gonna suggest. Fuck.
Yeah, he couldn't help but tease it out a little bit. But you're the only person who knows as of this moment, you're the only person who knows the topic of conversation.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah. So keep it under the lid.
Well, don't worry. I've already forgotten what it was, so you're fine.
Deathstalker 2.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I didn't actually forget. I was just going along with it, but all right.
All right. Fantastic movie.
Deathstalker 2.
If you're listening to this show, there's got to be some Deathstalker 2 fans in the crowd. There's got to be some just general Roger Corman fans or Sword and Sorcery fans in the audience here.
Well, I can tell you right now, I've definitely never heard of Deathstalker 2 before, so I don't know if that applies to me or not.
Kenny, run, don't walk to your ad-supported free streaming service of choice and search Deathstalker 2.
Deathstalker 2.
You're going to have a blast. All right. That's all I'll say.
What about the first one? Should I watch the first one?
No. Honestly, no.
Okay.
Deathstalker 2 is a gem.
Okay.
Yeah. And you do not need to see the first one. No.
All right. Cool.
You'll hear about it on the episode. Deathstalker
Fair.
2 stands alone and apart.
Fair enough.
All right. Now let's talk about alien stuff, because I feel like a lot of people listening to this don't care about Deathstalker.
Well, you're trying to make them care about it, which I suppose is, something to do at least.
Because they should. Or care about Betty and Veronica or Red Sonja. Barely care about Vampirella, and only in the instance where she crossed over with their precious xenomorphs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into issues 4 through 6 of Aliens / Vampirella, written by Karina Bechko, penciled by Javier Garcia Miranda, inked also by Javier Garcia Miranda, colored by Inlight Studio, lettered by Simon Boland, with covers by various people. We'll get into some of the variant covers at the end here, because they're in the back of the book.
Speaking of, though, the main cover, the one that we kind of teased out the previous time, it's the Queen, and she's standing there and she's menacing Vampirella in some foliage, and Vampirella is faced towards us but turned towards the Queen, and they're kind of just baring their fangs at each other.
Yes, these main covers are Gabriel Hardman, Gabe to his friends,
That's right.
and colors by Jordan Boyd. Do we want to give just a brief rundown of where we are in this story?
Sure.
It's pretty brisk, right?
Yeah.
Mars Base 1, run by humans, found some vampire remains underneath their base in some catacombs, called Vampirella to come check it out. Vampirella goes down with a team. They find facehuggers. Facehuggers get loose. 4 or 5, depending on how you count.
Yep.
Depending on what the text says, chest bursters happen, including one out of Vampirella, but she heals just fine. Yep. Her and the only human survivor, whose name escapes me right this second, but
Lars,
yes, from Metallica.
That's right. Yes, the very same. It is Lars Ulrich. That is correct.
Get trapped in the catacombs. They find an ancient Nosferatu base where they would harvest this ancient vampire species, where they would harvest blood out of humans.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the people on Mars Base 1 don't want to let them up and think that this must be Vampirella causing this outbreak.
Yep, it is run by Tucker, and the other guy with him, his sidekick that has the long hair and the ponytail, that we didn't know what his name was. We eventually find out in this batch of issues that his name is Norm.
Norm, right?
Yes.
Norm, like in Cheers.
Yeah, I got it, thanks.
No, okay. Yeah, they think that Vampirella must be at fault.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, a relief ship is on its way, including Lars's wife, Sarah.
Yep.
Some other dorks I'm not going to remember the names of.
The only one that's relevant is the captain, this old guy with a big white beard, and his name is Gene.
I don't know why that's funny.
I don't know why it is funny to you either.
But it is. I don't know. There's just a dude in space named Gene.
I mean, there's some other guys. I believe the only other named crew member on that ship is the bald guy, Troy, I think his name was. But he doesn't end up being relevant to the events of the comic at all. So Sarah and Gene are the only 2 people on the relief ship that are actually narratively important.
Norm, Gene, and Troy are not spacefaring names. I'm sorry. Anyway, they are being held at bay because of this outbreak, but Sarah's like, I got to get down there. We got to take one of our emergency landers and get down there, and also maybe drop a payload of explosives to deal with this.
This batch
more comes up in this side, but we are aware of the payload of explosives in the previous issues, right?
Yes, she did mention that earlier. That ship in this batch of issues is referred to as the drill ship.
The drill ship. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they call it here.
We learn that there are some Nosferatu still asleep in a chamber down there as Lars and Vampirella are making an escape from xenomorphs. They get into a sealed chamber where they find a hole burrowed through to the surface. As issue 3 ends, we find out that what has gone through that hole is a queen who has gone through to like some sort of horticultural area of the base. And that is where we pick up on issue 4.
Yep, sure is. That's where we start. We start in that little garden area with someone coming in to look for the woman that was gardening that we saw at the end of the previous issue, who we'd find out her name is Marta.
Yes. And she's dead as fuck.
She's dead as hell. Yeah, she isn't just dead. She got literally ripped in half. And the guy that finds her body also gets killed by the queen, who is still hanging around.
Marta got bishoped, right? Queens love to rip people in half.
They sure do.
Like short ways.
Yes. Yeah, they don't she didn't get vertically bisected. She got ripped in half at the waist.
I think we mentioned that they were pumping gas down there to try to sterilize the thing. So now we catch up with Tucker and Norm.
Yes.
Talking about if it's sterilized or not. And he's like, I don't know. And Tucker's like, well, there's only one way to find out. You're going to have to scrub the air and go down there and find out. And Norm's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they talk about how Lars is definitely dead for sure. He's certainly not still alive. There's no way he can be alive. And then they immediately smash cut to Lars still being alive.
Yes. So Lars and Vampirella are in this sealed chamber, but because they close the door on a xenomorph head, the lock or the door is being melted away with acid, which means the other xenomorphs that were in pursuit will be able to get through soon. There's 2 in pursuit of them still. So they're like, I guess our only option is to go up, right?
Yeah, through that tunnel. And so Vampirella sprouts her wings again. They start flying up the tunnel, but as they do, xenomorphs burst through the acid-weakened door.
Yes.
And lunge after them, almost managing to get them, but knocks one xenomorph away, which runs into one of the pods installed on the side of the wall, breaking it open.
Yes. The xenomorph does damage her wing. So her wing's going to be out of commission for a while, and they have to climb up this very long tunnel.
Yep. And Lars almost falls right into a xenomorph, but he manages to shock one of them with his shock stick.
Yeah, this is a fun scene where she grabs him by the foot, so he's hanging down below, but he's got the cattle prod, the human prod, and so he's able to like shock it to help like them get away a bit.
And they make it out of the hole and immediately see discarded human body parts from the 2 people that got ripped up.
Literally, just like a hand laying there.
Yeah. And they're inside the garden, and as they escape, they watch the 2 xenomorphs come out of the tunnel and search for them, but they're like hidden nearby in the foliage.
Right. Meanwhile, we cut back down to the chamber where the sarcophagus on the wall is breaking open, and a hand with long, sort of claw-like nails busts through.
It sure does.
I wonder what that's going to be.
We cut back to the relief ship, and Sarah gets a phone call, and that phone call turns out to be from Lars.
Yeah.
Who makes the extremely funny choice of, when trying to tell Sarah what's going on, he mentions that he let Vampirella bite her.
Yeah.
I would save that for a later conversation, personally.
This was interesting. I think, yeah. Well, he offers to let her bite him again to help heal her wing, and she's like, "No, you're only running on adrenaline. If I do it again, you're gonna die, right?
Yeah,
like you don't know how weak you are." It's like he's telling. Well, remember we speculated he was trying to call her so much in the first issue,
yeah,
that we were like, "This guy's a total wife guy, right?"
Yeah, well, he definitely is.
Yeah. he just can't help it, I think. But also, this is just like a way to remind us, the readers, that happened, so that when we, because it plays a part in like
it does, yes,
in the storyline here. It's really clunky though, and silly. It's just yeah, because we just see her like all of them dead, and you let her bite you.
and then it cuts back to Lars, who's whispering into the phone this whole time so they don't get caught, and he like tells them he tells her that the xenomorphs are down here, but again, like everyone else, he says there's some thing that can kill you, and it's like, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. But anyway, Sarah's like, no, we're going to go down there and rescue them anyway. And Lars is like, absolutely the fuck not. Do not do that. And then he hangs up the phone before Sarah has a chance to tell him she's going to anyway. The only way to get out is they have to go up to some catwalks and cross across the room, like near the ceiling.
He's also telling her that Tucker, like, he's like, Tucker tried to kill me, but he thinks he's doing the right thing. But like, no, fuck that guy.
Yeah. As they're crossing the catwalk, though, a tail cuts the ropes and drops them to the ground.
Poor construction on these catwalks.
As they're recovering from that, they get surrounded by something or another. Turns out Vampirella has seen some eggs, some ovos nearby. And when they look up from the ovo, there is a gigantic queen with huge bat wings attached to the floor, shitting out eggs while they're actively looking at her.
This is very funny because they fall off the catwalk and they like catch up with each other finally. And he goes like, look. And she's like, yeah, I see it. It's like a gigantic queen like made her nest and is pooping out these eggs. And yeah, he says like, I think I found the one that hatched out of you. So like on that cover, it had like vampire fangs also.
Yeah, that is as close as we ever get to official confirmation that yes, the queen is the one that hatched out of Vampirella.
Well, it's got bat wings. It must be, right?
Sure, but like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like the comic never explicitly says this is the one that came out of Vampirella. We get a character going, I think that's the one, and that's the closest we ever really get.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like you said, he has reason to suspect because it has the two long incisors like a vampire, and also it has huge bat wings. So we have reason to suspect he's correct, but
absolutely love when they do this. You know, I'm a big fan, and my biggest complaint about Aliens versus Avengers was that we didn't get xenomorphs with mutant powers.
Mm-hmm.
I love that this queen has vampire powers.
Yeah, it certainly does. Yes,
there was a Kenner toy, okay, from the Aliens line that was a flying queen.
Mm-hmm.
There was the queen, and then there was the flying queen, and it was a queen with wings.
That's fun.
Yeah, dope as hell. And I'm like, and here we are. Here we have a flying queen in
we sure do.
In the book. It rules. Anyway.
While they're standing there, I suddenly forgot the word I was trying to think of.
Well, they're hanging. They're in awe of the beauty, the majesty of this flying queen.
The word I was trying to think of was being scared of the queen. Was the word I was trying to think of.
Lars is like that Kenner toy I had when I was a child.
That's right. As they back up, Vampirella notices that the eggs are starting to open, so she grabs the shock stick and hits the fucking face hugger with it, which pisses off the queen really bad, and so they're like, yikes. And so they turn and start running towards the tunnel hole that they came out of, and when they start to, a pair of clawed hands comes out, and a Nosferatu vampire in a long robe pulls herself out of the hole demanding blood.
Yes. Literally, and like imagine like a Nosferatu style, like from the various Nosferatu movies, Nosferatu vampire.
That's the one.
Right. Like old school vampire looking vampire. And that's the end of issue 4.
It sure is.
Issue 5, Flying Queen, chasing Flying Vampirella. Same cover artist, Gabe Hardman. Jordan Boyd, pardon me.
Yes.
Rules. All right. let's get into it.
Yeah, the cover rocks, that's for sure.
Yes, because in the book now, the Flying Queen is in pursuit of all three of our heroes.
Yeah, heroes, so to speak. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because this Nosferatu vampire that shows up, slight spoiler alert for the listeners, she becomes the third main character of the book from this point.
Yeah. And to escape the Flying Queen, she turns into a giant bat, grabs
sure does.
Vampirella and Lars, and out flies the Queen, and flies because of her size, basically flying through this jungle of this, botanical area of the ship, and flies them to safety. Two things I want to talk about. Go ahead.
She gets the Queen really tangled up in the vines, and that's what prevents the Queen from going after them. But what I was going to say is she definitely goes man-bat mode.
Man-bat mode.
Yeah, she looks like fucking man-bat. It rules.
Very man-bat. So I mentioned on the last episode in Vampirella magazine, the first Vampirella story, Vampirella's one of her early powers was turning into a giant bat.
Mm-hmm.
So very fun that this comes back here, because that's something they took away from the character, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Also, I just love the idea, these sort of horticultural, like oxygen farm botanical areas on space stations and spaceships is just such a fun idea for like these long-term missions.
Mm-hmm.
I just like seeing it. It's always a fun thing. The first time I really paid attention to it in like anything was in Sunshine, which I know you haven't seen.
I haven't. That's correct.
So,
it is on Hulu though.
Yeah, it's very cool that that we have a scene like in this story that takes place on Mars in a space station. We're able to get this sort of like jungle chase essentially because of this idea. Anyway, that's all.
The vampire, who I don't think is ever actually named at any point in the comic.
No, I don't think so.
Drops them off in front of a hatch for them to be able to get back into the complex.
Yeah,
and
they start crawling away.
Yeah, they start crawling away through the hatch, and as they're discussing just things, the Queen shows back up and attacks them some more, and so they crawl away even faster. And then just as they're about to finally escape, the vampire grabs Lars and is about to feed on him.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to the relief ship with Jean and Sarah.
In this tube, Vampirella is talking to the Nosferatu in some kind of vampire language, and the Nosferatu is like, "You don't need to speak my language. I can speak every language, but I don't know why you're speaking the tongue of a prey animal, as in English, I guess.
Yes.
Common, human,
yes,
whatever." There's a lot of human languages anyway.
But yeah, like I said, it cuts back to the relief ship, and then Jean and Sarah are arguing about how she doesn't want to talk to Tucker anymore. And she's like, "Look, I don't trust him. I'm not going to trust anything that MF says." And
Tucker's like, but, because he's on the radio, right?
That's right.
Just let me explain.
But Sarah basically convinces Jean that, yeah, Tucker probably is lying, and you should go along with my plan rather than the plan that we already had. And Jean's like, fine.
And now some other dude shows up.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I was a page behind, but yeah, some other dude shows up. Tucker and Norm are discussing what just happened when some guy is like, "Hey, yeah, Marta's missing." And so the three of them start going through the feed and go to like the garden area and find a mess of blood, some broken stuff, and then a big xenomorph face jump scaring right in front of the camera. And they're like, "Ah."
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh shit! I guess we didn't kill all of these things that were down there, and also I guess they're loose in the station, and also I guess this is probably not like they're finally dropping the Vampirella did this plot line a little late,
right? A little late, yeah, but
it is finally dropped, and I guess that plot line was mostly being carried out. We didn't touch on this on our summary by the security force, like."
And to be fair, the security force does show up again later, and they do once again try to blame Vampirella for what happened. So it's not entirely dropped, but it doesn't become nearly as significant of a thing as it was in the first half.
But Tucker's not doing it, I guess. Anyway.
The Nosferatu that tried to feed on Lars, Vampirella points out the bite marks that she had left earlier in his neck, claiming him as hers, and he's like, what? And the Nosferatu's like, sorry, I didn't understand, or I didn't know he was already under your thrall. I apologize for trying to eat your meal.
Vampirella's like, just go with it, Lars. Just go with it. Yeah, and so then Vampirella's like, that's fine. Like once we're like safe and like out of this place, you can feed all you want, but you're gonna have bagged blood. All right, you're gonna have like ecto cooler style.
That's right.
Like Capri Suns. Okay. And the Nosferatu is just like, man, things are sure have changed since I've been asleep, right? And now we get the full story.
Yeah, now we get like a whole flashback sequence narrated by her about what happened on Mars.
Yes. A lot to say, but I think the abbreviation is, and I thought that this was a very cool idea. They wanted to escape. The Nosferatu were tired of like they wanted to be, quote, liberated from the tyranny of the day star.
They were tired of constantly getting killed by the sun, so they went somewhere that was far enough away that the sun won't kill them walking around on the surface anymore. Yes.
They wanted to live without fear of immolation. So they built a rocket ship to fly to Mars, and they captured a whole bunch of humans to take as essentially cattle, right?
And this character here, again, since we're never like given a name for her, she was one of the first volunteers, one of the first like initial wave of colonists.
Yes.
And she goes there to basically be a guard, and as she says, was willing to learn animal husbandry. So she was basically a human cattle guard, basically.
Yeah.
And turns out things didn't go quite how they had planned. They didn't realize how slowly humans are able to breed and repopulate. So they started to run out of food.
And they weren't taking like really good care of the humans either. They didn't have like enough water to really keep them hydrated and stuff. So they were like, we got to find more water on this desert planet.
So she gets a transfer to go be one of the people that goes to find water rather than a guard. And they do manage to find water, but they also find evidence of a previous alien civilization that was living on Mars.
Yes.
And they find they discover this by finding a bunch of alien corpses with ominous holes in their chest.
And these aliens, these lowercase a aliens that they find, right, they look like Martian manhunters in their natural state. We're seeing fossilized bodies, obviously, but they have humanoid heads, but like very elongated.
Yeah,
almost like cone heads, but more rounded at the top.
Yeah, okay. They sort of have, like halfway between like a cone head. They also sort of kind of have like a xenomorph head, you know?
It is very, yes, yeah, but it's like goes straight up. It doesn't go back.
Yeah,
you know, I didn't want to mislead people.
That's correct, yes.
And these three bodies in this panel are all sitting in chairs, so it's like a civilization. It's not just,
for sure. She even describes that they had left ruins behind, so they had clearly been there like thousands of years prior to them, which was already thousands of years prior to the present of the comic, you know?
Yeah. I'm wondering if the Martian Manhunter Association and this being Mars, I'm wondering if that was a design choice on purpose.
Could be.
There's got to be other stuff like Martians depicted this way in general, right?
Probably, yeah.
Like that I'm just not aware of. So, you know, it's not Mars Attacks Martians. Okay.
It's not. That's correct.
But
yeah, they find these for lack of a better term, Martians. They find the corpses, but they also find an ovomorph along with finding the water.
Yes.
And one of the brain genius Nosferatu brings the ovomorph back, and then she just says in her narration, "It was the beginning of the end."
As always happens, the person's just like, I found something.
Yeah.
Just every time, right?
And
Hey guys, look what I found.
And so she basically says that she went into her pod, like the last thing she did was alert Earth to not send any more colonists to Mars. Yeah. And she went into the pod expecting to never come out of it. And then it cuts back to her and she's like, but hey, here you are. You're a vampire, so clearly things worked out in the end, right?
Hell yeah, we won. Hell yeah, go vampires. Look at us. We must be on top. A pity didn't wake me until after you had exterminated the monstrous vermin, though.
And then Vampirella's like, yeah, we probably need to have a discussion about what you think is going on here.
Awkward, but before that can really happen, right?
Lars gets a call again. You know, as we've already discussed, he is a wife guy. Turns out his wife is a husband gal because she calls up Lars right in the middle of this conversation and demands to be able to like video chat with him. And he's like, I can't really do that right now.
Yeah. And turn the viewer. I need to see you. And she's like, just listen. All right. Tucker's lying to you. He told us that you were dead.
But gave us approval to like land, and Lars is like, absolutely not. Do not do that. It does not matter. Don't fucking do that. And during the middle of the conversation, we get a big thump on the ground of the tunnel we're in, and then a huge xenomorph tail bursts through it, surprising everyone.
Yeah, it's the Flying Queen, and she busts through the tail, or busts her tail through the tunnel. And Lars drops his iPad, scrambles to go grab it as the Queen continues to attack. We get this panel where like Lars is holding the iPad, he's smiling. This montage. He's smiling at Sarah.
He managed to turn the viewer on so the two of them can finally see each other. And right when they finally get a look at each other, he gets impaled with extreme prejudice through the torso with the giant tail.
Yeah, she sees it happen. The Nosferatu gets covered in blood,
which actually works out well for her, as it turns out.
Yeah, Lars gets ripped in half.
Yeah, he straight up also gets ripped in half by this tail, and they collapse out through the big hole in the tunnel, landing on the ground as the alien menaces them. Or the Queen menaces them, and the Nosferatu, basically gets rejuvenated by the blood that she's covered in, and then lets out this huge giant scream that echoes throughout the entire base and summons a huge swarm of rats that pour over all of the ovomorphs and start tearing them apart.
Yes, which pulls the Queen's attention away from Vampirella and the Nosferatu and back to her eggs to try to go keep them safe.
Yeah, so she turns and runs, and the two of them turn and run in the opposite direction and manage to get the door open. And when they do, I believe that's Tucker is leading a squad of soldiers on the other side. And again, as I mentioned earlier, he has the classic line, "What have you done?" talking to Vampirella, indicating that he once again thinks it's entirely her fault somehow.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Tucker in this panel because it's so small, but it is definitely Tucker as we see in the next issue.
Yeah.
This is the end of this issue.
And we also find out that Norm is there with them. So
yeah, he's the guy you want next to you in battle.
That's right.
Before we move on to issue 6, I like this idea of Nosferatu wanting to colonize and finding xenomorphs, just basically doing the same kind of shit that humans do in all of these alien stories, right? Like escaping the planet because it's killing them.
Yeah.
And then finding something deadly out in space that's also killing them. It's just like, it's very fun. It's a very fun idea.
I just wish that character was given a name so I didn't have to keep calling her the Nosferatu in my notes.
Should we name her? Do we want to name the Nosferatu now?
I can't think of anything clever to call her.
Bloody Mary?
Sure, why not? That works.
All right, let's do it. Let's start the episode over.
All right, I will admit, I was not super impressed by this cover. Like, it's cool and it looks good and it has like cool framing and stuff. I just think it's a very unmemorable cover that doesn't really give us, like, based on the content of the actual issue, this cover doesn't really indicate to me what to expect, because like the rest of the covers did do that. I just wasn't super wowed by this image personally.
There's a lot here. It's Vampirella running, leading a bunch of humans. They're being chased by xenomorphs and the Flying Queen. There's the red planet behind them. There's the Nosferatu, sort of like also in the face of the Nosferatu, sort of coming out of the red planet behind the Queen. It's an interesting. It's artistic. It doesn't really encapsulate the content like you're saying. It just feels like all of the pieces of the series sort of mashed together on this one cover, I suppose. Which is maybe the point.
That's the reason why I didn't really find it memorable, because like the cover of the two of them with their wings out flying around through the sky, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the cover that's the issue that starts off with the two of them in like a flying chase sequence. Like, I see this cover and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's the Queen and there's xenomorphs and there's the Nosferatu, and it's like, yeah, we already know all this stuff, you know?
Yeah. This is a commentary specifically on this as a cover. The art quality of all of this is very cool. Gabe Hardman and Jordan Boyd's artwork on this, Gabe Hardman's pencils it's fantastic, and the composition is great. It's a great pinup, right?
Yeah. It's a great image. I just don't think it works very well as the cover of a comic book.
Yeah, you know? It's a very cool pinup. It would be if it didn't give away the Flying Queen, it would be a very cool cover for like the trade, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess the trade uses the issue 1 cover, which is the right idea, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's a cool image, but I get what you're saying. Anyway, final issue 6. We are on the rescue
relief ship. Yep.
Does it have a name?
I'm not aware of it having one. I mean, the entire time I only ever know it as the relief ship. I don't know that it was ever given an actual name.
I don't think anybody cares.
Yeah, it doesn't actually really matter. Sarah is still freaking out over the fact that she, watched her husband get murdered in front of her. But she, at least, is smart enough to figure out that that was not, in fact, a vampire, and the vampires are not the problem. Right. And Jean is like, well, look, there's a quarantine. We have proof that there's an alien down there. So our only choice, what we have to do is turn around and go home. And Sarah's like, absolutely the fuck not. We are not doing that. There's no way we're going to go down there. We're going to take the drill ship and we're going to drop bombs on that place and blow the entire thing the fuck up.
Yes. There's a really simple term, by the way. I kept calling it this botanical area, this and that. It's for the forest area, the greenhouse. It's a greenhouse. It's the greenhouse area, guys. The greenhouse area. Sometimes the simple word doesn't come to my mind.
See, I was just calling it the garden the whole time. So
the greenhouse area.
Yeah. We cut back to Vampirella and the Nosferatu, who you can see is visibly younger now. Like, we see her, she now looks the same as she did during her flashback that she was narrating.
What an incredible observation. I completely missed that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, because when Lars got ripped in half, his blood got poured onto her, splashed onto her, and then she used that blood to rejuvenate herself. Yeah.
Man, I was thinking the artwork on the Nosferatu is really inconsistent. You're 100% right.
Well, Yeah, but I already did mention that's what happened though, because at the end of the previous issue, like when she summons those rats, I was like, yeah, she's able to do that because she got rejuvenated by the blood.
Well, I know, but I was just thinking like energetically,
Nah, I
not
got you.
like
Okay.
her skin was like her physicality.
Yeah,
like
she's
looked
literally
younger.
physically younger again. Yes.
I thought she just like wasn't thirsty anymore.
I got you. So Vampirella basically tries to plead for their lives, and Tucker is like, hey, how about you shut the fuck up because you killed everyone? And she's like, oh my god, no, I fucking didn't. And then her and the Nosferatu start to argue because the Nosferatu doesn't understand why she's treating them like equals rather than pets.
Right. And she's like, and also like, you can't, like, you had the one guy, you can't lay claim to all of these people. I get to eat some of them.
And Tucker is basically like, all right, look, anyway, I'm going to kill you guys now. And he pulls out a big hammer and stake. And then just
Wikipedia.
And then just as he approaches them, a xenomorph comes out of nowhere and literally cuts Tucker's head off.
Cuts Tucker's head off. Just bam. Tucker's done. Slice.
Yeah, he's just dead as hell.
Point of order. I don't want to like miss out on like relishing in Tucker's death because he sucks.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls out a stake and a knife, and he's like, now we don't have any wood here, but I think steel will work. It's a steel stake and mallet that look wooden in the artwork.
Yeah, they sure do.
They have wood. We saw the queen barreling down trees in the greenhouse area. We saw trees fallen in that compartment. They got wood.
Yeah, they definitely have wood. That's correct.
They got wood all over the place. They got a whole area of wood. It's an area that I referred to as the woods earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
But yeah, like I said, the xenomorph shows up. This xenomorph has a ridged head, not a smooth one. And it literally grabs his head in one hand and then uses the other hand to slice entirely through his neck. And it's like he's fine in one panel, literally dead in the next, and then we just never see him again. He just gets pulled up off screen, and then Norm goes, oh my god, watch out, guys.
Don't panic. We need a united defense. Norm immediately is like, hey, we should work together.
And the queen arrives back at the Ovos and shrieks loudly enough to scare all of the rats away. And then after that happens, the Ovos start opening up and facehuggers come out.
Yeah, she's getting all the huggers out of their eggs, just out of their little cozy little sleepy holes.
We cut back to the relief ship.
Sorry, you think it'd be cozy to like curl up inside one of those ovomorphs?
I mean, if you're small enough to fit, yeah, probably.
I think they're like all tucked away inside there, all nice and warm.
I mean, it would probably not be unlike living inside of a Pokeball.
A good point. Probably a little moist though. Right?
A little, but I mean, if you're the type of thing that would want to live in an ovomorph, you probably want it to be like that.
Sure. Good point. All right.
We cut back to the relief ship, and Sarah and Jean and two other characters that don't matter are walking down the hallway arguing, and Sarah's like, look, Jean, you gotta shut up. We're doing this. And Jean's like, okay, fine. And Sarah says that her and Jean are the only two that are going. He's gonna pilot. I'm gonna man the explosives. And that way, not all four of us are dead if we end up getting killed.
Yeah, if we don't make it back, you've only lost two of us, right?
And then it cuts back to the soldiers and Vampirella and them, and the two xenomorphs have shown up and start killing most of the soldiers to the point where I think only one or two of them end up surviving. And
the facehuggers come.
Yeah, and then there is a big hole in the wall, and a whole like horde of facehuggers comes out, and almost the rest of the soldiers get taken out by them. Vampirella almost gets a second facehugger, but she blows it away with a shotgun, and it shoots out normal red blood when she does that.
It does. Yeah, that is wild. She does blast one with a shotgun, which I was like, hey, that's awesome. Good for her. And then I was like, wait.
Red blood.
That's all wrong. That is all wrong. What is going on here?
And then Norm opens up a door and says, "Come on, dudes, this way." And it's Vampirella, the Nosferatu, and the 2 remaining soldiers. As they're trying to get through the door, a facehugger almost makes its way through, but she closes the door on its legs. And when this one has acidic blood, although the last one seemingly didn't, and the acid from this one splashes out and gets on the face of one of the 2 remaining soldiers, killing him.
Yeah.
And so Vampirella's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. The 4 of us, let's just keep going.
This guy's better off dying this way than the rest of them with the face huggers on their faces. And we just got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Now, this last remaining soldier is, I think, the guy who was like, hey, you guys seen Marta? I think he was the new guy who just showed up out of nowhere.
All right. I got you. I didn't notice that either way, but I believe you.
Yeah. I'm not positive, but that was what I thought.
That's fine.
Anyway.
The Nosferatu gets a little bit surprised when she finds out that the humans effectively have won, because this entire place is built by and run by them.
Yeah, she's like, wait, what the fuck? She's looking around this room. She sees pictures of like humans on the walls. Like, this is a human's office. She's like, did the humans build this place? Are the beasts in control of Mars?
And Vampirella's like, yeah, it's not just this place. It's not just the planet. They also took over Earth too. And she's like, how the fuck did they take over Earth?
Yeah. And the one thing Vampirella doesn't tell her is, and also, I kind of like hunt and kill you guys.
But before they can continue on with that conversation, they get a call from Sarah. We find out her last name is Micho, by the way, Micho.
Sarah Micho.
And Norm answers the call, and they're talking. And she basically says, all right, this is what's going to happen. Me and Jean are flying there. The 4 of you are going to get on a ship and then fly up and dock with us in space. And that's how we're going to take you out. Yeah. Do it. And Norm's like, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah. And we're going to drop a payload all over that place, and it's going to be toast. We're going to take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Right.
And they have a little bit of discussion about how it's a bit of a hike. It's wouldn't you know it? The ship they need to get to is on the opposite side of the station. What are the fucking chances?
Oh my god! I hate when that happens, dude.
Not that matters though, because it smash cuts to them. Well, not immediately smash cuts. Like we see a very brief shot of them walking down a hallway, and then it smash cuts to them standing right outside of the ship.
Yeah, they're there very quickly. There's nothing happens to them until they get there, and they're putting on space suits. They're like, shit, we only have like 2 suits, and Bloody Mary and Vampirella are like, look, we're gonna be fine. We don't need space suits. And he's like, okay.
And then the other soldier gets killed with another tail through the chest. They love doing that in this fucking comic.
Love it. So now there's 3. Vampirella shoots one xenomorph in the head
with a shotgun.
With a shotgun, as Lars is like getting them on the ship, and Vampirella's like, get the fuck on the ship, dude. You have to fly this thing. Don't be a hero. If you don't get on the ship, no one's getting off. Right? So
the 3 of them get on, and the ship takes off, and there is a xenomorph on the ship, and Norm manages to knock it off. But as they fly away, they notice there is a big hole in the roof of the greenhouse, and then immediately get attacked by the Flying Queen. Literally in the next panel, she is chasing after them.
Like, what's up with that hole in the greenhouse? And then, Queen.
And then we get a classic scree.
We do get a scree. Is this our first scree? This might be our first scree.
And the Queen is on the ship trying to rip it open as the ship with Sarah and Jean fly up to it, and Norm actually gets blasted out of the ship when the Queen rips it open. And so Vampirella and Bloody Mary Vampirella sprouts wings and Bloody Mary turns into a big bat, and the 2 of them fly I don't know if we're actually in space, but the background is stars. I just don't know if we're up far enough to actually be considered to be in space yet. But
Yeah.
the two of them fly out and rescue Norm. Well, the reason I ask is because the background is stars, but Norm isn't wearing a space helmet. So
Yeah. So, I mean, if this is fast enough, he'll be fine in terms of breathing, but he doesn't like freeze, right?
yeah.
So they must not be high enough up yet.
But yeah, the two of them manage to grab him, and then Bloody Mary admits that, look, man, the entire world has changed. I don't really know where I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to do anymore, so I'm just not going to go with you.
Yes.
And then she lets Vampirella escape with Norm, and then turns around and attacks the queen and starts tearing her up with her big bat claws.
She says, "Tell the food beasts they should try not to screw everything up the way the Nosferatu did." Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am Food Beast Hallstrom.
And Vampirella takes Norm over to Sarah's ship. They manage to board, and Sarah's like, "Oh, just you two?" And Norm's like, "Yep." And then so Sarah drops the explosives, which is a giant green cube.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decide to fly away without watching what happens. The explosive hits, blows up, and then Vampirella goes, "I'm sorry, Sarah," and she's like, "We're going home." And then we get a chyron that says, "The end."
The end. Okay.
I was legitimately taken aback at how abruptly this comic ended.
Where the fuck is the rest of the book, dude? We do not see the fate of the Flying Queen. We don't see it. The fate of the Flying Queen. It's almost like they were trying to set up for a sequel series that I don't think ever happened because
I'm not aware of one.
This was 2015, and I think the 20th Century deal or something happened, or the Marvel deal. I don't remember.
Yeah, I will say, though, maybe they imply that Bloody Mary might have won because in the panel where she's in bat mode fighting the queen is trying to attack her and missing, and Bloody Mary is literally slicing a bunch of ribbons into the queen's forehead. So I guess the implication is maybe that Bloody Mary killed the queen or is going to. But yeah, just like I said, just the end. And we never get any resolution about anything else that happened.
Yeah, but there's a moment when they are on the ship. So they, first of all, they're definitely still in atmosphere because when they open the door to the
drill
rescue
ship.
Vampirella, it's like just got like a ramp, and they're just standing on the ramp. There's no gravity or anything, and then like Vampirella like looks back and sees the queen and Bloody Mary fighting. And I think she's looking back to be like, okay, yeah, good. Bloody Mary's got this, and maybe the queen is falling in that image, but it's not clear.
Yeah, it's really not. They do not do a good job of actually depicting what it is they're trying to tell us is happening.
Lousy end. I said it. Really rushed, and there's shit in this that could have been like skipped. Like, the panels where the xenomorph lands, like jumps on the ship, and he's got to shake it loose. Don't add anything to this at all. That was 1, 2, 3 panels that don't mean anything. That is 2/3 of a page that could have been dedicated, a little more than half a page that could have been dedicated to expanding on the ending somehow or giving clarity to any of this stuff.
Or like considering that Tucker was straight up about to be murdered by a xenomorph, we didn't need to have like a page and a half of him arguing with them before he gets killed.
Yeah, it could have been shorter. It was definitely supposed to be like a shocking moment, right?
Yeah. It was like I was enjoying the comic up to this point, and then I was reading this issue and went, huh, that ending kind of came out of nowhere. Like you said, it was really like I said, it was really abrupt. Like you said, it felt really rushed. I was surprised at just how like the comic doesn't end. It just kind of stops. Like when I say there's more story to tell, I don't mean that in the sense of there can be a sequel. I mean, they didn't finish making the comic.
It really feels like it. I mean, one more page. They could have squeezed another page out of this by condensing some of the other stuff. I bet there's a page they could have cut out of this completely.
Or at least a page in aggregate from other parts somewhere else in the comic,
Right. Yeah. I was enjoying it too up until the end. And then I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, and it's not even that the end itself is bad. It's that the end shouldn't have been the end.
If they didn't say the end down there, I would have thought I was missing content.
Yeah. I definitely, that is not like, I don't want to say how a comic should end, but like when you're reading it, you literally are like, wait, that's it?
That's it. I was, yeah.
Sure, man. All right.
Can't win them all. All right.
So yeah, that's the end of Aliens / Vampirella.
Kenny, how does this stack up to the? This is a new question. How does this stack up to the previous? We'll include Superman Aliens in this. Judge Dredd. How does this stack up to Superman Aliens and Judge Dredd versus Aliens?
I think I like it more than Superman, but not as much as Judge Dredd.
Okay. What about it do you think makes you like better than Superman?
It's not so much that I specifically liked this comic better than Superman. It's more that the more I think about the Superman comic, the more I was like, there were a lot of missed opportunities there, and there was a lot of things about that comic that, in retrospect, I'm not sure I loved the way they did it, and so Superman has kind of fallen a bit in my estimation since we've read it. Not a lot. Like, I wouldn't go back and like change my review or my opinion. It's just that now that I'm reading more of these Alien crossovers, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe the Superman Aliens crossover isn't quite as much the way to do an Aliens crossover book, Like, okay. I like the comic for what it is, but now that I've started to read other crossovers, I like the way the other crossovers do it better, is all.
Gotcha. I like, I think that this is my least favorite of these three.
I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised at all, because this comic does have some issues, the most notable of which the fact that the continuity is not able to keep itself straight.
Right. There's definitely some editing stuff.
I will say, though, we made a big deal out of, in the previous episode, about how they got the number of xenomorphs wrong. That turned out to not matter at all, so...
Right. They sort of corrected that in this somehow.
Yeah.
By bringing it back down to 2, and then they were like, well, where's the fourth? Was just I don't know. They figured it out.
Yeah, that turned out to not matter. I'm assuming what happened is they saw that and went, oh no, we got that wrong. And so they just retconned it in the next issue.
Actually, they didn't work it out, because the one that died was the third one. But they had already killed that one earlier in the issue, so there would only be 2 chasing them. So they still have the count wrong in this. But again, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't actually end up mattering, because more xenomorphs show up later anyway. So then the specific number of them ends up not being relevant at all anymore.
I mean, it matters, but also like it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It matters in that, like, I don't like the people who made this and edited this were not paying attention to the details. And that shows me that they weren't considering this something worthy of paying attention to the details.
But it also doesn't matter, because in the narrative of the 3 issues we just read, the specific number of xenomorphs that were chasing them doesn't actually come into play or like be relevant to the story. So it was then, but it's not in these issuose.
Well, it should be. You say more xenomorphs show up later, but we don't see where those come from. Those face huggers never grow. Like those chest bursters never pop and grow. We don't actually see where any new xenomorphs would come from. So it is supposed to be just the same ones we were dealing with earlier. This is sort of what I mean. They're just like, I don't know. And then a xenomorph shows up. I don't know. There's just more xenomorphs. That's why there's still only 2 when Tucker gets got, right? There's 2 in the Queen. It's sloppy, and they were not paying attention. Because they were like, it's Vampirella and aliens. Who cares? And that's part of what made, I think, sorry, go ahead. Just say what you're going to say.
I was going to say, clearly at least one person cares, me, because finding out this comic exists is, again, the reason I wanted to start doing the show in the first place.
Right. Yeah. And I care too. I care when they take these kinds of things seriously. Aliens versus Avengers showed what it was like. And to talk about the Predator universe, from what I understand, from what our friends have told us, the Predator Marvel crossovers have shown us what it's like when people care about how crossovers are done. Mm-hmm. Superman, Aliens, I think they cared about how that crossover was done and how those properties were depicted, because it was, Superman is a big name property, and they do care about how that's represented, right? Mm-hmm. And that care just wasn't put on this book because they were like, we're going to sell this to the same people that always buy these books and a few other people who are going to be curious about it. So, we're going to sell twice as many copies of this Vampirella book because it's an Aliens book, and twice as many copies of this Aliens book because it's also a Vampirella book, right? And that's as far as their thought process went.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to chalk it up to they made a mistake and didn't realize it at the time. I am not going to go so far as to say that I think that is attributed to a lack of interest or care in making the project, for the least of which, because if they weren't interested in doing it, they wouldn't have made it a full 6 issues. They would have made it a smaller run than that.
Sure, I suppose. But then it's 6 issues, and then it still slams on the brakes at the end.
Yeah, and sure does.
And they get the xenomorph, the face hugger blood wrong, and they get this wrong and that wrong. And
yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying the comic doesn't need work, and I'm not, like, as I've said before, it definitely needs another editing pass. I'm just not chalking it up to a lack of interest in making the product like you are. That's all.
Okay, all right. There's only one way to settle this. I will send some emails off to Dark Horse Publishing.
Yeah, see what they have to say.
And Dynamite.
The Dark Horse, that classic comic book company that is currently printing either one of the IPs in this comic, yes.
Well, Dynamite might answer us. Dark Horse, they'll have some thoughts, I'm sure. Anyway, I don't know. You can sort of tell when people try, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, moving on. How well do you think xenomorphs work in knowing what you know about the Vampirella universe, which is everything you've read in this comic book, but with the assumption that we are now making, based on my intense research of reading the first 3 issues of Red Sonja and Vampirella Meet Betty and Veronica, and watching half of the 1996 Vampirella movie, that Vampirella is in fact from a planet called, and reading the original Vampirella story, et cetera, that Vampirella is from a planet called Draculon, where water has the same properties as blood, et cetera, and she's a space vampire. How well does xenomorphs fit in the world of Vampirella?
One thing I want to ask, just as a brief side note, did you only watch half of the movie because you chose to turn it off because it was bad, or did you just get distracted and have to go do something else and forget to come back to it?
I got distracted. I found myself getting distracted because it was not keeping my attention, and I was like, "This is just I'm not having fun with this." And I'll watch. I'll maybe get back to this at another time, but I have other things to do with my life.
You got it. Okay, so you effectively were like, "Wow, this movie stinks," and turned it off. Got it.
Yeah, and in so many words, yeah.
That's fair. Okay. Anyway, to answer your question, I think they basically fit alongside each other pretty okay. Like I mean, of the crossovers we've done so far, this one on paper is the most similar to me. Because yeah, Superman's an alien, but he's like capital G good guy. Judge Dredd is a cop on Earth, whereas at least this way, Vampirella, she's like a predator and she's like from space and she kills people like using her own body like a xenomorph does,
Right.
And so like on paper, of the three that we've covered so far for this little batch, this is the one that to me like makes the most sense from like a pure intellectual standpoint.
There's another connection here by way of I think things that inspired the creation of the original Alien, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A Mario Bava movie titled Planet of the Vampires.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yes, about a team of astronauts who land on an uninhabited planet and end up getting sort of influenced and turning on each other by essentially what I believe are, as the title implies, space vampires.
I was literally about to say the extremely stupid sentence, "Hey, isn't that what that movie Ghosts of Mars is about?" And then before I said it, I went, "Oh, wait, no, that's Ghosts, hence the name."
So I've heard that I've watched other, like, I know that was it them, I think, the giant ant movie, or is that they?
That's them, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that is also an alien influence, but I believe Dan O'Bannon. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm okay with being wrong. Internet.
Mm-hmm.
That Planet of the Vampires is one of the influences behind that Dan O'Bannon had when writing Alien. So
he was definitely thinking about Vampirella specifically when he was writing the movie. Got it.
Yeah, it totally 100%. Yeah, but just, the Planet of the Vampires may have been an influence on Vampirella being created, and also, so there might just be some shared DNA between things. This is me speculating, but there is definitely, there is probably some space vampire DNA in the core of Alien, right? In the inspiration for Alien. So
fair.
I think that they blend pretty well, like on paper, right?
Yeah.
And that is very fun. It is not going to be like a heady storyline about like what it means to be human, because Vampirella just doesn't like get into that territory.
Yeah, it's not about that.
Yeah, but Vampirella can be like very horror influenced stories as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like I said, Grant Morrison was writing Vampirella stories for a while.
Mm-hmm.
In the hands of the right writer, they get into some stuff.
For sure.
So I think the concept works well, and I just don't know that it works 100% well this time. And primarily because of how it just sort of stops.
Yeah, it does. Even factoring in like the editing and continuity mistakes, the fact that the ending is just so abrupt and it just kind of stops rather than ends, like that's like honestly my biggest complaint about the comic. My biggest complaint is that I wanted it to keep going, if that tells you anything, I suppose.
Yeah, I needed a little bit more. I needed more resolution. I liked, because if you remember when we started part one of this, I was like, this was fine. I don't know. But then as we talked about it and I went back through it, I was like, wait, what am I talking about? This was a lot of fun, and I loved this. This was great. And then sitting down to read these, I was like, yeah, this is a blast. And then I got to the end and I was like, shoot, it really took the wind out of my sails there.
Yeah, it definitely should have kept going. I mean, like I said, my biggest complaint about the book is that it didn't go on long enough. I wanted more of it, if that tells you how good the rest of the comic actually is.
Yeah. Any other things we talk about with these? I think that's kind of it, right?
I mean, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that I wanted to say about the comic. I mean, the art looks good. The covers are cool.
One little thing here I see in the trivia, I think this has been corrected in reprints and digital releases and stuff, but originally, I guess, a number of liner notes that were meant for the colorists for Inlight Studio that were written by the artist Javier Garcia Miranda regarding colors and background designs could be seen in the final printing of the comic series.
Cool.
So that's another tick in the mark of like, this did not get the care in the crafting of the book that maybe other series have.
Yeah, they were really trying to turn this one out. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the book could have been a lot better with just a little bit more TLC.
Fair enough.
It's still fine. I mean, I think it's a fair representation from what I understand of modern Vampirella comics. And I think that as the xenomorphs are presented in it, they're pretty, it's pretty xenomorphy, and it is fun to see a queen variant, right?
It is, yes.
We
don't really get that a whole lot.
It wasn't very scary. It was very shocking, right?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You know, they went for the shock moments and the sudden violence and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, I was never on the edge of my seat. Like, there were some scenes in Superman Aliens where I was like really on the edge of my seat.
Mm-hmm.
And this never achieved that. So
yeah, I'll probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As with a lot of these things, this was pretty okay.
Yeah.
All right. I did mention I would talk about some of the variant covers.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I want to do that is because I want to use the variant covers maybe for the cover art. So variant cover for issue number 1 by Gene Jimenez and Andrew Magnum. It was a New York Comic Con exclusive. Is just sort of Vampirella in her red costume, very traditional Vampirella art, posing in front of a xenomorph.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get the image over to you.
Okay, yep, there it is.
Yeah. Pretty traditional, what you think of when you think of a Vampirella cover, honestly.
Yeah, it sure is. She's very definitely in what I would describe as a pin-up pose.
Yes. And again, Comic Con exclusive. Right. This is the kind of Vampirella cover I think we're more accustomed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I might put this on the podcast art too. Maybe we'll get a few more downloads, right?
Maybe. Hey.
And then there is also a cover for something called a Box of Dread. Do you know what a Box of Dread is?
I do not know.
It sounds like some sort of subscription box thing.
Yeah, probably.
This is a variant cover for issue number 1 by Dennis Calero for a Box of Dread exclusive, which is a very fun one, which is Vampirella sinking her teeth into a xenomorph, vampire style.
And the xenomorph is like, hey, what the heck, man?
Yeah, I really like this one. These just might be the cover arts.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because they're dope.
Cool. Works for me.
Anyway, wanted to give some credit out for those. Then there's also like your typical sketch covers and things like that. One of just Vampirella, different poses, one of a xenomorph, et cetera, et cetera. Usually Dynamite does a lot of variants, so I'm surprised I've only found just a few. These are ones that I've found on Xenopedia to be specific. All right. Cool. I think that is all I have to say about Aliens Vampirella.
Yeah, same. I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah. I don't know where this is in the schedule about Alien Earth and everything. I know we're probably getting to the end of the series at this point, or we're like episode 6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah, I think we only have like 1 or 2 left.
6, I think, is probably our next episode. But our next crossover is... Where's our crossover?
I'm looking at it right now. It is Wildcats vs. Aliens.
Oh boy, some classic Image Comics superheroes, the Wildcats.
I'm going to have a lot of fun with this one because Wildcats is fun, by the way, is in quotation marks there, because I have no fucking clue who the Wildcats are. It is a name I have heard and have never found out anything else beyond that. So I'm going to be reading this comic going, what the hell is going on?
I'm going to say I have read some Wildcats, but I had a moment where I was trying to read a whole bunch of Image stuff that I hadn't read, like Wildcats, Stormwatch, all of that junk.
Mm-hmm.
I read Wildcats sort of, I think it was like in the mid 2000s or late 2000s. DC did Wildcats reboot.
Mhm.
That's where the Grifter character comes from, I believe.
All right. I'm familiar with him. I don't think I knew he was in the Wildcats, though.
I've seen some of the Wildcats cartoon series.
All right.
Because of course I have, right?
Of course. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But I couldn't tell you the first fucking thing about Wildcats. I couldn't name a character besides Grifter. I know nothing. It's all just fallen out of my head. All right. So
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that one too.
this is the one where like the series ended and then got like reformed as like the Authority or something. Is this them?
Or did the Authority come first? I know that Warren Ellis was writing a lot of the Image stuff early on, like a surprising amount of that those Image books. Like I have Gen 13 books Warren Ellis wrote.
So yeah, this is going to be fun because I literally have no context for these characters or what they can do or who they are or anything.
Yeah.
And although funny story, I actually have a real physical copy of this story that we're going to be covering in the next issue or the next episode, because a friend of mine saw that it was a comic book with a xenomorph on it, and he went, "Hey, do you own this?" And I went, "I do not." And so he bought me the copy and gave it to me.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be reading it out of one of the DC Aliens crossover trades. I can't remember if it's in the Superman one or the Batman one. After that, we'll be doing that's a one-off. That's just a one-shot.
Yes, it is. So that is correct.
That's going to be a 27-minute episode.
Yeah, probably.
After that, we will be reading Overkill, Witchblade, Aliens, Darkness, Predator 1 and 2. I forget the order that the names are in, but it's something like that.
It's Witchblade, Darkness, Aliens, Predator.
It's actually not, because I have physical issues on my shelf right over there.
That is the order of it that we copy and pasted from the website. So I'm surprised they changed it.
I'm getting up and going to get it. Hold on.
Anyway, the reason we're doing issues 1 and 2 is because I believe there are only 2 issues of it, and so we're just covering the entire thing. It'll also give us an excuse to talk about Witchblade, which I know Neil wants to talk about, and Darkness, which he probably also has opinions on.
I just got back. I have less opinions about Darkness.
I had a feeling.
It is Overkill, Witchblade, Aliens, Darkness, Predator.
Okay, so you were right the first time, and when we copy pasted the name, it was written wrong in the thing we copy pasted. Got it. I knew you had a lot of opinions about Witchblade, though, and I have a sneaking suspicion that that's the reason you suggested we do it.
Yeah, we were going to do the sequel, which I can't pull the title of because I didn't realize that was a sequel to this.
Yeah.
And then we found out it was a sequel, and I was like, well, then we got to do the first one.
Yeah.
Written by Paul Jenkins. I'm excited about that. I like Paul Jenkins most of the time. Creator of The Sentry.
He's a good guy because he created The Sentry, my boy.
Yeah.
I love my man Bob Reynolds.
So those are our next two. Those are the next 2 episodes that will be wrapping up our crossover series, and maybe by the end of those, Coolerbot will have found his way back.
Let's hope. I got my fingers crossed.
But for now, let's wrap this up. Kenny, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on Blue Sky and Twitter at CYHOBBEZ.
You know where to find me, but make sure you listen to that. They made another one. Linked down in the show notes.
Oh, so it'll already be out by the time this comes out?
It will be. Talking cool. Deathstalker 2.
Deathstalker 2. Who's in that? Who's in that? Yeah.
What's his face and that other guy and that lady.
Cool. Fair enough.
John Lazar is the villain.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a name I know.
That's the name. John Terlesky.
I don't know who that is.
They
recast.
I don't know who that is. No one does.
Okay.
He's a good lead. Him and Monique Gabrielle, the leads have a lot of chemistry. Mm-hmm. John Lazar is the villain. It's you got to watch it. Anyone's familiar with professional wrestler Queen Kong? She's got a part.
I am not. So this is the first time in my entire life I've ever heard the name Queen Kong. That's very funny.
Okay. Well, that's anyways. All right. Kenny, where can people find our show on the internet?
Our Twitter account, which is run by me, is at Crew Expendapod. Our Blue Sky is at Crew Expendable. The Instagram and Threads, both of which are handled by Neil, are at Crew Expendable Pod. Our website is crewexpendable.net. Our email is mother@crewexpendable.net. Our YouTube page is youtube.com/@crewexpendable. And our donation page is coolerbot.net.
Thank you.
No problem.
We will be back again talking. Our next released episode, anyway, will be Alien Earth episode. After that, Wildcats.
That's right.
So until then,
Stay
frosty.